Hello again, and welcome to Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops with me, JB, and Chris Dredd.
Yes, yes. What's happening, people? Hope everyone's all right.
We have had a few changes. We are obviously here on YouTube, and you can see our faces, but there's been a few changes. We are now everywhere.
Everywhere.
Um, I'm going to start a small list, and if you don't recognize any of these places, feel free to check them out and try and find us. We are now on Spotify, Listen Notes, Stitcher, Podbean, Deezer, Castbox, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
Mad, isn't it?
We're everywhere.
And the crazy thing is, right? When when me and Jordan started doing this, and we thought, yeah, we'll do a podcast and that, bang it on YouTube, and that, a video one would be really nice because we can show bits and bobs as we're doing it, and people get to see our mugs and whatnot. But then Jordan was approached by people, and people said, "Oh, how come you ain't on this and ain't on that?" And we thought, why not be like a listener podcast as well. So we've basically we're taking over. We are, we're on everything now, as Jordan was saying. Podbean, Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Listen Notes, Stitcher, and iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We are on the lot, and we just want to say a thank you to everyone that listens to us. Basically, we're trying to get a little bit more exposure. We're trying to get a few more listeners, trying to expand the audience because we really enjoy what we're doing. We hope that the listeners are enjoying what we're doing. We've got quite a nice little following now on YouTube, and we're hoping to translate that into the podcast world. So, we're also on Twitter at Chat Grapple Pops on Twitter and at Chat Grapple Pops on Instagram as well. Jordan is heavy on the Twitter. I'm starting to get a little bit into it as well and starting posting a few things on there. Posted a mad funny video yesterday of some woman on doing pole dancing. She ended up getting put through a table and being broken in half, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I mean we're just loving it, and we just thank everybody for listening and tuning in. And we hope if you can't catch us on YouTube for whatever reason, if you can't listen to that at work or whatever in the car, you can bang on a podcast, download it, and still hear our dulcet tones in your ear.
Well, that's perfectly. If you're sick of seeing our faces, just listen. For anyone that is listening, Chris is wearing his SAWFT t-shirt,
Swift.
which is always fun. Enzo, we miss you.
We do
Enzo,
miss
please
you,
come back.
Enzo. Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to show it, but there it is.
Lovely.
The Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops podcast hoodie. And again, I'd like to thank my good friends over at treeoflifeframing.com for that one.
Cheers,
They frame
guys.
anything.
Indeed, anything. Also, another little quick shout out to Renee Oreen Hajek and a couple of groups on Facebook. Myself and Jordan are a member of a few groups on Facebook. We're collectors, so we collect this and that, everything to do with wrestling in general. And Renee Oreen, I don't know how it's pronounced, sorry, bro, but basically he sorted me out some stickers. So the Hasbro rings that everybody's got, the stickers sometimes go a bit manky, and he's got replacement stickers of those that you can just print out. Obviously he doesn't want people getting them just to sell them. It's for the community, for the collectors community. And he's also got custom ones. So he's got King of the Ring, he's got Royal Rumble, he's got loads of different custom bits. And we'd like to give a shout out to the group as well. We'll be posting the podcast up in the groups. He's got WWF Hasbro Universe, which is a buying and selling site, and WWF Hasbro Generation, which is just for collectors, where we just show our stuff and the dick swinging contest on who's got the most figures, basically. So shout out to Renee or Reen Hajek. Big up yourself, mate. Thank you last night. I got the files and I will be replacing my stickers on my rings very soon.
Yeah, anyone that wants to check out Chris's Hasbro gear, I'm sure he's got time for you anytime on Facebook or even on Twitter. We might even start posting some stuff on Twitter. We've both got extensive collections.
We
And
have. And if you watch this podcast on YouTube, you will be able to get a little sneaky peeky of a few little bits and bobs from week to week. So Jordan's got a couple of bits there, and I've got a couple of bits here that are relevant to this pay-per-view that we are watching today. So if you're listening on the podcast, thank you very much. That's absolutely fantastic. But if you're watching on YouTube, thanks to our 130 odd subscribers that we actually have now, which is
welcome,
absolutely
welcome.
it's amazing. You will be able to get to see these little things that we're going to show you through this, which are related to this pay-per-view. And what is the pay-per-view, George?
WCW fans, this is the one for you. It's Uncensored 1997. I mean, I watched this. We watched this again. I loved it. Almost every minute of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's in front of an amazing crowd. You know, like some hilarious people in the crowd as well, which I'll get to later on. Now we caught up with Nitro just beforehand. I mean, I'm happy to give a quick recap of what happened on Nitro just before what happened at Uncensored.
Well, we watched a couple of them actually,
Yeah.
and they were both like 2 hour specials. And there was a lot of stuff going. I mean, there was a crazy amount of stuff going on in these Nitros before,
Yeah.
man. A crazy amount.
Eric Bischoff, our wonderful executive producer of WCW, was relieved of his duties by Dr. Harvey Schiller, who, I mean, in my brain, for some reason, I only just watched the Chicago Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, and I believe Michael Jordan calls Harvey Schiller a dick in one of the episodes. Completely not based on anything around TNT or WCW, but he calls him a dick, and I just thought it was funny, and I had to bring it up. And yeah, Sting had been walking out with the NWO.
Yeah.
That was strange times. He was walking at the back of the group. He was just sort of taking it all in, I guess, and enjoying, like, you know, being with the cool gang for a bit.
He was like a mannequin, though, bro. He weren't saying nothing. He was standing there. They were doing their promos in the ring. He was literally just, you know, not moving. You know, at one point in one of them, they put a T-shirt on him, you know, and right in front of him, you know, and he weren't doing the hand gestures or anything there, you know. Bischoff's patting him on the back or whatever, you know. It was really weird. He was like, he was there, but he weren't
there. Team. Well, Roddy Piper was setting up for his team at the pay-per-view, and he had tryouts. Which, I mean, booking wise, I thought was really strange because he had tryouts. He ended up picking 3 guys, one of whom was John Tenter. You know, shout out, rest in peace to the Earthquake himself.
Yeah.
And then the next week he replaced him with the Horseman.
It was weird, dude. Like, what?
Almost like they were filling time on the Nitro where they did the tryouts.
It was crazy, dude. Because if anyone's got the network, all right, go back and watch these Nitros. It is one of them's the 10th of March, which was just the one before this, and then obviously the one would be the 3rd of March, maybe 3rd or 4th of March. So
yeah,
you've got the Nitros. Oh man, they're like, they're 2 out, but it's well worth a watch because it's setting up. You're seeing the booking, you're seeing how everyone's being played against everyone, and it's a really weird time in WCW, man. It is like, it's almost insane.
As chaotic as their shows are, they are winning.
Oh, they're winning, and it was chaos.
They're winning the war. They're smashing up the WWF every week at this point, and I'm sure Bischoff is doing poorly executed cartwheels every Tuesday when the numbers come in. But they're smashing it, and the shows they're just mad.
Absolute lunacy. You know, it's just madness, but it's a beautiful madness that we like to call late 90s WCW.
We are in the North Charleston Coliseum, which in South Carolina, which is a massive. It used to be a huge NWA hotspot. It's a huge WCW spot. Always get a hot crowd in the Carolinas.
It's a huge Horseman area, dude.
Oh, it's big. Like, it's horseman country for sure.
Yeah.
And you're getting a decent crowd. You're getting and fair play to WCW. They always, they put some of their big pay-per-views in the Carolinas for that reason. There is a dark match. Ice Train beats Max Muscle. Max Muscle was that massive, roided up fella who didn't last very long.
And this is on the night, isn't it? But it wasn't on the. It's not on the network version.
No, this is just a dark match. But Ice Train, he'd been around for a long time. I think he started in '93. It was,
I did want to mention a weird thing that a guy that I'd forgotten about, but when I was watching the Nitros preceding this, you had a guy called Hard Body Harrison. You remember Hard Body Harrison? Yeah. He's been involved in a lot of. I think he's in jail at the moment for locking women up and basically prostitution, all that craziness. And he's a character that I'd completely forgotten about. And I saw him and I was like, oh shit, man, Hard Body Harrison. And yeah, like I say, please watch these Nitros before, because they're crazy. One of them was Spring Break. It was just absolutely crazy on a massive swimming pool where they had the ring in the middle. I thought someone was going to end up in the water.
They normally do, to be honest, on those Nitros.
Those Nitros are absolutely insane. Especially the one at Spring Break. It was just absolute craziness. Beautiful though. Those events that WCW used to put on, they were so different because they'd have them at all these different kind of places. They kind of innovated the sometimes they went well and sometimes they didn't go well. Like the Bash at the Beaches, and they had these things where they were actually at Malibu Beach or whatever. And they tried, they bloody tried, and sometimes it was brilliant and sometimes it didn't go too well, but the innovation was definitely there, the outside the box thinking. So that's why I'm just drawn to that Nitro just before, and that's the one where the Horseman, there's a there's a part in it because basically, like you said, Hot Rod picked a team of these misfits and John Tenta. It was just crazy. He had people coming in fighting him, and one was a boxer, one's a karate guy, one's a this. And then basically the next week on Nitro, the Horseman came out, and it was just an absolutely nuts promo of Piper in the ring with his team, and then the Horseman coming down, and Ric Flair and that doing a load of strutting in the ring, and then he was going crazy, and then Piper's doing strutting, and it was just. Oh, it was beautiful. In the middle of a ring, in the middle of a swimming pool.
This won't be the last time we mention Piper in a crazy promo in this show.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
That's something we will get to. But we'll start the show. Tony, Dusty, and Bobby the Brain in the booth tonight. They welcome us, and we get our very first, if you will, from Dusty.
That's right, uncensored, if you will. How good was his jacket, though, dude? How good was his jacket? He was rocking like a Michael Jackson red leather jacket. It was divine.
We'll get more on Dusty in this show because he is in fine form.
Him and Bobby, as always.
Then they mention that Dennis Rodman's in the building. He's there. He's, I got a lot to say about Rodman. It's not necessarily based on this show, but Dennis Rodman at the time was money. So, he's a NBA champion 3 times in a row. Or I'm not sure if he hasn't won the 3rd one at this point, but he's big business, and he's a wild character. So
he'd had a few fights. In NBA there was an era where there was a lot of on fights on the basketball court,
especially in the early 90s.
There was a lot of fights, and Rodman, and also it has been said that WCW actually encouraged him to have fights on the court at certain times with certain characters, but
they encouraged him to skip practice, so and they paid him well enough for it.
Yeah.
Our first match of the evening, everybody's favorite, yours and mine, Chris, Dean Malenko.
Nah.
Against Eddie Guerrero for the US Championship.
Could we just say as well, when Dusty, Tony, and Bobby are sitting there, they tell us that obviously the previous Nitro that Bischoff has been suspended, he's not there, and also they explain that every match is no DQ in this. So they're trying to tell you the rules, obviously uncensored, the whole theme of it,
Uncensored, yeah.
you know, no DQs, and
But
also so
they
that
make
means
that they make a big point of it, of this first match being no DQ. They even put up a big graphic on the screen saying this
yeah,
is no DQ for the US title.
so you can go over the top rope. But then, funnily enough, people in the final match get eliminated when they go over the top rope.
Yeah.
So it was a shock in the first elimination of that match when someone goes over the top rope and it's like, oh no, oh actually, yeah, he's eliminated because top rope. But yes, they do make a big deal of it. Yes.
So yeah, it's Dean Malenko, the Iceman, one of the top workers in the world for sure, against Eddie Guerrero. I mean, I noticed it straight away. There's a steely look in Malenko's eyes. He's coming down to the ring. He's on a mission tonight. He's going to put on a show for us.
And to be honest, my major problem with Malenko is the fact that he don't sell very well. He's not very good at putting the other guy he's working with over. But to be fair to him, and to be fair to all our listeners and to you, it's going to be a more positive view of Malenko in this match. But I think partly it's the fact that Eddie Guerrero's a bit stiffer on him, and actually they're friends. You know what I mean? So I think that has a lot to do with it in the way they interact in this match. And his selling doesn't consist of a quick head shake and then back to the, you know, to business. So
Well, now this there's a backstory here that is, you know, has Eddie been breaking the rules? I mean, this is something that Eddie would be known for later on, you know, breaking rules and doing it. Heenan says he wouldn't trust him, but Bobby Heenan wouldn't trust anyone that, you know, didn't pay him money.
yeah,
Which I thought was fun. Something I noticed, because this crowd is hot. They're going to get into things, and they really got behind the Malenko stomping in the corner, or as Dusty, you know, talking about stomping mud holes. And
there's a beautiful bit in this between him and the Brain. You know, when they're talking about mud holes, and it's so beautiful the way Dusty does it. Like he's like, yeah, the Stampede has become the stamp. You know, the guy was stomped on. The Stampede has become the stamper of the mud hole.
My director of mud holes.
Yeah, our director of mud holes, the Dream. It's just beautiful stuff, man. They also make a point that the referee in this match is Randy Pee Wee Anderson, who
back,
was sacked by Bischoff, and he's been brought back, and he's actually a little bit taller than Malenko. Just saying.
Now here's my problem with this match.
Okay.
There's a commotion in the back. Rick Steiner's down. He's meant to be in the main event. He's surrounded by the outsiders who, you know, make a great crack about saying the Steiners are having some bad luck lately. You know, I think this is really disrespectful to the US title match going on in the ring.
Fuck yeah,
because
man.
they cut away for so long. And I think our US championship match with two great workers needs a little bit more respect. They could have double screened it. You know how much I love the double screen. Or they could have just done this after the match.
It did take away from the action in the ring. I think they obviously the ref would have said to him, look, put in a rest hold or whatever. They're going to be cutting to back, but it does take away from the action in the ring, and it is a bit disrespectful because, you know, I mean, but this is a sign of things to come. You know, it is a sign of the NWO kind of taking over the pay-per-views, taking over the nitros, and just kind of, you know, just basically taking over. And it's hard to follow, and it is a bit disrespectful. It's they cut to Six Nash and Hall, and Steiner's on the floor, and then they obviously. It's funny. There's a bit where Dream says, "Yeah, ambulance," They got putting him in an ambulance. Steiner. It's just the way he says ambulance. It's just amazing. And you've got Hall actually saying, "Oh, he's known as a troublemaker," because they cut a second time. So they have the first time when they cut to what's happened, and you've got Steiner lying down, and then you've got them saying, "Oh, we need medical attention. We need medical attention." Then they cut back to him again when they're actually putting him in an ambulance, and you've got Hall just saying, "Yeah, he's known as a troublemaker. He's known as a troublemaker," telling the EMTs and that when he's. I don't know what the point was of that. And he's saying, "Yeah, take your hat," and they put the hat on his chest and that when they're putting him in the ambulance. Also, Eddie smashes Malenko with a rock bottom in this match. Have you got that? Great stuff.
I mean, yeah, I suppose he's still Rocky Maivia at this point. He's not even turned heel yet, has he? So
it's correct, because we're just around the time. At this time, you had on the 23rd of March. Bear in mind, this is the 16th of March. So then you've got maybe a week or so later. A week later, it's WrestleMania 13 going on at the same time. Because I always like to tell the viewers, the listeners, and that, like, all right, so Uncensored 1997 is what WCW is doing. At this time in WWF, literally the same week, you've got Bret Hart versus Stone Cold in that submission match at WrestleMania 13, which was a great match. But you can see the difference in the products at this time. And like I say, so we had WrestleMania 13 going on in pretty much the same week.
Tony uses the word surly, and Dusty says, "Don't call me Shirley."
That's correct. Correct.
I've got here that Malenko's selling well in this. I've got it on my notes.
No, and that's the point I'm going to make. He is shit at selling. Usually, I think he doesn't sell. There's pushing a hard man gimmick or a ice cold gimmick, but also you've got to understand physics. And when someone kicks you in the face, or when someone does a move that is devastating, you've got to sell it, because if you're going to ultimately beat the guy, you've got to make them look good before you beat them, because then it makes you look better. So that's, like I say, that is my major problem with Malenko. The fact he could work, fantastic. The school of the Malenko school has trained so many people, including one of my favourites, Gangrel. And actually, funnily enough, guys, just to mention Gangrel, he was trained by Malenko. He's got a really good shoot interview by the Hannibal TV. So, I mean, shout out to Mr. Gangrel. Liked a couple of tweets of ours this week. A picture of me and Gangrel in St Albans, Hertfordshire, when I went to go and see him in a show. So hopefully we can catch him when he comes back over here. Dave, lovely bloke. But yeah, he was trained by the Malenkos, and a lot has gone through their school. And so don't get me wrong, Malenko, great worker, great moves. But I was just, but as you say, in this match, selling well. I think it's because it's Guerrero, and he's a bit stiffer with him as well, and he's, great, good stuff. I've got to big up Malenko in this match.
I've got here that the booth has lost concentration on this match.
I think it happens a couple of times. It happens definitely in the street fight, the Texas Tornado.
It takes away from what's going on. Eddie puts on a figure four, gets a nice little cheer from the Horseman crowd,
and he grabs the ropes as well to push the fact that he's cheating.
He goes up to the top rope and ends up hitting the railing, the railing on the outside as well, which it never looks comfortable for me. Like it always looks like it's a tough spot to get involved with. Yeah. I've also got here, Eddie executes his moves. Always precision perfect, always beautiful. It's technically wonderful.
Always.
And
if given the choice, I would choose Guerrero over Malenko any day. And that's just me, because, I just love the way he executes it, the way he jumps, the way he was jumping around the ring and moving around the ring, the way he goes in between the ropes, goes up to the top. It's just absolutely effortless. You know that he's been doing this since he was a kid, with a ring in his back garden, playing with his cousins, wrestling since he was old enough to walk,
It's really something like it's
Beautiful.
he's never out of place. Yeah, it's just so good. Malenko hits a frog splash.
That was
And it's not
quite a
bad.
it's good. Yeah, it was a good spot for me. And the face he gives when he's pinning him as well. He's like, "Oh, I just hit a frog splash."
He pulls him up before 3, and I thought, what a stupid spot.
Yeah.
I get it. Like he's got the ump with him. He doesn't
He wants.
like him or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, just get the win, get the championship. That's my opinion anyway. Eddie does the clover leaf.
Yep.
And then 6, Mr. Waltman comes down from the NWA. He comes down to steal the title. He's got a camera, like a little handheld camera in his hand.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure whether this is a botch or not, because he tries to hit Guerrero and it flies out of his hand.
I think they meant to. I'm not sure whether it was the belt that he was supposed to hit him with or the camera, because that then becomes a international object that is used.
International object. Oh. Yeah. The camera ends up in Dean Malenko's hands, and he waffles Guerrero with it, and he wins. He gets a 3 count, and I noted this down. It's a huge pop for the new champion.
Yeah, I mean, huge is debatable, but yeah, there was a.
I mean, there's bigger pops on the show. I understand that.
I think I was just a bit sour about Malenko going over, but it's one of these things where it's funny with the story, because there was a promo by Malenko in the weeks before on the Nitros saying, "Oh, Eddie, yeah, I think he was on commentary one week, weren't he? On one of the Nitros, they had him on commentary, and he was saying, "Oh, Eddie, he won the belt by cheating and all this and stuff like that." And then he did another promo the next week in the ring saying this is a new Dean Malenko, and saying I'm going to win it clean and all that. And then they win with a finish. I'm not sure about the booking. Maybe it was just NWO wanting to get involved again with this particular belt.
We have our first sighting of Mean Gene of the evening. He starts plugging his hotline, which he does it every show, so it's nothing new to us.
Who was the guy that they said, "Oh, we've got hot news on the WCW star that is no longer with WCW"?
Someone had left. Yeah, I'm not sure who it was, but
yeah.
The thing is with the hotline, it's usually someone in the bottom part of the card. It was never going to be a main event, and they're all there.
Yeah.
So he brings in Roddy Piper, and this is the promo we were talking about. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he is as batshit crazy as ever here.
Yeah,
he is rambling. He says, he's not talking about the Queen Mary, but speaking of Rodman,
yeah. He's like, uncensored. My whole life's been uncensored. What's is different about today?
He says Rodman wants to try his kill. It's like,
and he was talking on the Nitros before as well. He kept going on about his hip. Yeah, kept going on about he's got one hip or he's got a metal hip, and they mentioned WWF on the Nitros. He mentions them on the Nitro before, and he says, yeah, WWF. They basically wanted to get rid of him because they said that no one with one hip wrestles in their company or whatever. But he said, when I was wrestling Goldust, I had one hip. And I remember that match, and we should cover that event because that match was absolutely fucking insane. He gets run over.
It's one of those cinematic matches that have made a great comeback in the past
nuts
couple of months. And yeah, it's I mean, this is sort of around about the time where Hogan calls Piper Peg Leg Pete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Horsemen walk in. Jarrett walks right through the shot. I mean, I think that's hilarious in itself.
It's great. But actually, when you say the Horsemen, let's also just make a note now that Flair and Arn Anderson weren't even at this event. They weren't even there.
Yeah. So it's Horsemen, but not quite. It's Jarrett. It's Mongo. Mongo's in the building.
He's in the building. Baby doll.
And Benoit. And I mean, Mongo's a decent promo.
It's a decent promo. He gets Roddy seems to like it. He gets quite excited when Mongo's speaking because I mean Mongo's Chicago Bears, was he?
Yes, he is. He's there.
And he's saying about Rodman, I'll show you who the real icon is in Chicago.
Yeah, Bulls and Bears. Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, so I've got here. Mongo's not a bad promo. Piper gives a pep talk to Benoit because Benoit's not speaking, and he, tries to give him a livener, and at the end of it, you've got Tony Schiavone perving on Deborah McMichael. So
yeah, dude, it's crazy because I've got written down here ranting Roddy. And he's on fine form. He's got a few zingers in there, a few one-liners, and then Jarrett comes in, and to make a point, Vince Russo loved Jarrett. It's one of those ones. That's something that was mentioned in Gangrel's shoot interview as well. That you'd go and try and speak to Vince Russo, and he'd always be there with Jeff Jarrett. And it was notable that when Russo was in WCW, Jarrett had a few title runs, but
one or two, yeah.
Yeah, so Jarrett there walks across the shot. McMichael gives a good little promo. Benoit gives this kind of subdued little bit. But then, at the end, Deborah was going to speak, and Gene says, oh, we were going to speak to Deborah, but now, Tony, straight to you guys. And then Schiavone says, oh, we don't need to hear from her. We just need to see her sometimes. We just need to look at her.
Yeah.
And that's such a 1997 thing to say. You couldn't get away with that now.
Well, I mean, plenty more to come in the perving department.
Oh, dude, it's incredible that I mean, what was this? I mean, it says this video cassette is exempt from classification, but there's some double entendres. There's a bit of blood.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
There's a nudie magazine that has been that will be exhibited shortly.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Crazy pay-per-view.
We move on. Psychosis against Ultimo Dragon, who's with Sonny Ono. I like Sonny Ono as a manager. I thought he was fun.
I love him.
Memorabilia to show us. You've got a bit of memorabilia to show us, haven't you?
I have got a bit of memorabilia. It's one of my favourite bits of memorabilia, and it is a signed Psychosis with his little certification there from Pro Wrestling Tees. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, that's him and Rey Mysterio in ECW.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I love Sonny Ono. Sorry guys, if you're listening on the podcast and you can't see this beautiful picture of Psychosis, but if you go to YouTube and our channel, Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast, when you've got time, then you can check it out. But it's Sonny Ono, really good character, really good little heel manager, great stuff.
Dusty calls him Sonny Bono.
Sonny Bono, he does. He calls him Sonny Bono, and he comes walking down with a camera, and he's taking. I mean,
the original selfies.
The original selfies are Sonny Ono, baby, with as Bobby says, with a Japanese camera. And this is when they mention WCWWrestling.com. This is the early days of really the internet being accessible for most people, and the pictures that Sonny Ono was taking, they say are going to be available on www.wcwwrestling.com. Which is, like I say, it's good the way things were going forward.
So it was essentially World Championship Wrestling.com.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. They didn't know, man. It was 97. They didn't think about shit like that. Come on, man.
Mike today joins the booth. I noticed this. Dragon's laying in some heavy kicks.
Yeah.
He's not exactly holding back.
No. Psychosis has got heavily taped fingers as well. Really heavily taped hands and fingers. I mean, these guys were wrestling, they say about it in the commentary as well, but they were wrestling in Mexico like 4 nights a week during the week. And then they were on Nitro on a Monday. you know, and on the weekends and then pay-per-views. I mean, these guys, and at one point, you know, Bobby Heenan says they go in between Mexico and America on rickshaw.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got that. Brain says that Dragon travels by stretch limo rickshaw,
yeah,
which has Dream in hysterics.
Dream he's killing. There's points in this where Dream loses the plot laughing.
Yeah,
He's just screeching laughing, and it's so funny to when you're listening. It's great
to
stuff.
hear people have a good time whilst they're doing their work.
Beautiful.
It's like, yeah, it's a bit of a botched leg drop. Psychosis catches Dragon on the nose, and it doesn't look like Dragon's enjoying that one.
No.
Uh, where Dream says that he himself trained in Tijuana with limo rickshaw.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, I did a bit of training in Tijuana myself. And then they say, come on, Dream, come on. I don't know whether that's a hooker's reference or, you know, I don't know what kind of training he would be doing in Tijuana. But, yeah.
I've got here that it's a slower cruiserweight bout. It's not, and the crowd aren't exactly into it.
No, you're right. It is a bit slower paced. It's not your but, you know, your catch as catch can. I love that saying. Catch as catch can kind of match. It is a little bit slower, but I think it adds to the impact of the specific individual moves that they're doing. But maybe these two guys are fucked. I mean, they've probably been wrestling all week, every single day of the week.
Yeah,
You know, and but still a great suicide dive by Psychosis.
I need to stop for 1 second because there's a guy on the hard camera in the crowd who you can't take your eyes off because he's dead center all night long. It's the guy with the Sting face paint,
Yeah, the white. Yeah,
the jeans, and possibly denim shirt, and he
yeah.
is so off-putting. When he just but it's funny, but like it's. I mean, why would you let anyone sit there dressed like that?
It's
He's,
funny.
he's,
I
he's
clocked.
double denim and a Sting face paint.
It, it's funny, but I clocked directly behind him, maybe a row back, a guy wearing a Blue World Order. In a
Oh,
sea
okay.
In a sea of New World Order t-shirts, there's a guy with a BWO t-shirt, and he's on his cell phone, probably to his mate, going, "Can you see me now? Can you see me now?" And then he's giving it the finger to the V. He's like, "Can you see me now?" Because obviously it's a
Yeah.
pay-per-view, so his mate's probably, you know, watching at home. But that was brilliant to see, and he was directly behind. Yeah, he was behind the Sting face paint dude, and
The
I'll tell you
double
what
denim
match it is. I
Sting.
clocked him.
I just it's in. I had to put it in my notes because I just couldn't stop. Like you can't stop looking at this guy when it goes like the camera goes to him. It's like still in focus, isn't he?
There's a few people with face paints in the crowd actually.
Yeah.
They're a hot crowd, man. This is North Carolina. You know what I mean?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Sorry.
Yeah.
In actually, there's one move where someone says, "Oh, he's been thrown into North Carolina."
Yeah. You're right. There was a suicide dive, which
It
is
was
really
by
nice.
Dragon. Sorry. Yeah, it wasn't by Psychosis. It was by Dragon.
Yeah. This is when Dream loses it again because Tony mentions the particle boards.
Yeah. Yeah. And the ice. Particle
and,
boards.
and yeah, there's an acai moonsault on the
Yeah.
particle boards,
Yeah.
and he can't contain himself. Sonny Sonny Bono, Sonny
Sonny
Ono
Bono.
gets interjected. He hits Psychosis with a nice spin kick.
Yeah.
The ref comes out, finds out, and Sonny, as hilariously as he can, says, "Oh no, I think he slipped."
Yeah. I think he had accident. He goes, "I
Yeah,
think he slipped. I think he had accident."
um,
Great.
and it's kind of annoying that this match isn't clicking with the fans. They're not that bothered.
I mean, as you know, as matches go, this is second on the card. You've had a good opener with Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. You know, this is it's a great match. It's a great match, and it's a shame, like you say, that they don't really, you know, the fans are not really on it. They're not really feeling it too much.
No, that's a shame. Um, there is a botched finish.
Yeah, there's a double face plant off the top
Yeah.
first, which is a bit sketchy as well.
Yeah.
Bit crazy.
Yeah. I got the botched finish. I just like it eventually turned into a top rope DDT, but I'm not really sure what they were going for before that.
Yeah.
And then Dragon hits a tiger suplex pin
Yeah.
to win. And Sonny Ono calls out 6, which is quite rare to see a heel call out another heel, but that's where they go with it. Again, the fans went into it, and it's disappointing.
Sonny Ono and the Dragon, they put their feet on Psychosis in the ring, and they're going in the camera. He's like, I want a challenge for my Dragon, and then they proceed in 1997 taking selfies in the middle of the ring, which is just fantastic. And obviously, you could have got those on WCW.com.
We get Mean Gene again, plug in the hotline, because it must be a money spinner for him or something. He just every time he comes out, it seems like he's plugging that hotline. He brings out DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. DDP says they know my name. I'm calling that a cheap pop.
Yeah, because they're shouting DDP, DDP.
Yeah.
And
he
Savage.
Comes out to Savage. Yeah.
Savage keeps forgetting his name, and they said it on the Nitros before. They're like, "Oh, what's that guy's name? The redhead guy, crazy guy, whatever." And they're just playing up this whole thing. No, you know my name.
DDP says that Savage can snap into this diamond cutter thing, and then you hear Savage with his brother. I thought that was good. And Savage has a treat for everyone. Him and Elizabeth. They're at they're a little bit further away from DDP, but he has a magazine, and this magazine is a Playboy.
It's actually Nude Celebrities magazine.
Yeah.
From Playboy. Yeah.
And it has pictures of Kimberly, but with expertly, someone's covered her bits with NWO.
These photos are available on the internet now, though, if you wish to see them.
Oh, right. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't know.
No, research, mate, research. You know what I mean? So
Savage is good here. Savage is good.
Kimberly, but the thing is as well, they'd also played out in the storylines. You hadn't seen Kimberly for a long time prior to this.
She was the booty babe, wasn't she?
She was the booty babe. So they're breaking kayfabe a little bit here now, where Savage says, "Oh, it's your wife. Kimberly's your wife," and I mean, I don't know if we even knew they were supposedly boyfriend and girlfriend. Then then she gets with Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, aka the Booty Man, turns into the Booty Babe. Then literally she fucking disappeared, and then now she's re-emerging in this pay-per-view. So yeah, Macho Man comes out with the nudie celebrity magazine with NWO sprayed over her boobies and all the other bits, so you can't really see it, but they can show it.
Savage here is unbelievably funny. I mean, he's slightly dirty old man geezer sort of thing.
100%.
He's you're the man, Paige.
Yeah, you're the man.
And Kimberly comes out and distracts Paige for no real reason. She just comes out crying.
She's spray painted NWO all over her, which is crazy. But I swear she's legit crying tears in this bit, dude. By the end of it, she's a fucking good actor, but it looks like legit tears, man. She's selling the fuck out of it.
Savage jumps Paige, beats him, sprays him, and still shouted at him, "You the man."
Yeah.
I mean, and then Liz sprays Kimberly. New attitude for what we knew as Miss Elizabeth.
That's right. She's like, "Let me do it."
And it's crazy.
This magazine would get honourable mentions throughout this pay-per-view as well.
It would get a few more, yeah.
It gets a few more mentions by the commentary team and also in another vignette by the NWO.
What do we have? We have next up is Mortis. Mortis. I'm using my English accent here. Sorry, guys. It's Mortis.
Mortis, yeah. You know what I mean, son.
It's, it's Mortis with James Vandenberg,
Or
or
James Mitchell.
Canyon, as we like to refer him to. God rest his soul.
Yeah, this
Against
is Chris
Glacier.
Canyon underneath the mask here.
He's against Glacier in a martial arts match, whatever that means. And I've got here is the battle of the hokey gimmicks.
It's fucking Mortal Kombat, bro. It's Mortal Kombat. It is as Mortal Kombat as you can get.
Apparently, Mortis trained in the blood sports, whatever that is. The blood sports is what he said.
The blood sports. Is that like Jean-Claude Van Damme? Get me Kung Pao. I want
Was he in
Kung
the
Pao
film? I don't
now.
know. Like, yeah, maybe.
Those illegal tournaments.
I've got here that Mortis Canyon throws a cracking punch.
Oh, Mortis as a character, fantastic. I mean, Canyon's a big guy. He was really good under the mask. James Vanderberg, aka James Mitchell, really good on the outside. But it is literally like Reptile versus Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. I've just got Mortal Kombat gimmick match because at this time video games were fucking huge. Mortal Kombat was
I'm surprised
absolutely
Mortal Kombat, the people behind Mortal Kombat weren't, pushing for Glacier to do a disappearing act.
yeah.
Because
Or the ice is melting, as Vanderberg saying.
Yeah, like for sure. The favourite part of the match for me was the baseball slide from Mortis to Glacier, which he sold beautifully against the red and stuff.
Good, yeah.
I thought that was really nice. And then Dusty asked for that magazine.
Yeah, he said, "Is that magazine still floating about?" He said, "I'm sure there's some other pages that haven't been defaced."
Yeah. And, yeah, I thought that was funny. Mortis hits a famouser.
Yep, I'm prettier. Famouser.
Yeah. I've got here as well a lot of shit kicks.
A lot of shit kicks, and also a really bloody slow ref count.
There's a few, yeah.
A few really slow counts.
And yeah, a lot of shit kicks. I've got here as well. It was hard work in the end. Like I was struggling to stay into this. And there was a shit kick for the win. Like they call it the cryonic kick. It was just a super kick.
Yeah,
it wasn't very super.
No, selling the ice gimmick with the cryonic.
Yeah, and Glacier gets the win, and then Vandenberg starts summoning something in the aisleway, and it's the man formerly known as Adam Bomb.
Yeah, it is Wrath. Yeah.
Yeah, he would later he was Brian Clark. He would later become Brian Clark from Chronic.
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a tag team, I think.
Well, I mean, he looked $1 million because basically what happened in the ring, Sub-Zero gets the win. Sub-Zero. Fucking Glacier gets the win. And to be fair, Glacier weren't a bad worker. Canyon's not a necessarily bad worker. There were two guys that are having a fairly all right match, gimmicks aside. And then obviously Glacier wins, and Vanderberg's at the end, like summoning him to the ropes and distracting him. And then Mortis grabs like a kind of shillelagh kind of stick and decks him. Yeah. And then obviously, they beckon this guy down, and no one knows it, and they don't know who his name is, do they?
They don't. He does become Wrath, but
personally though, I think he should have kept. He should have pulled, because he come down in like some kind of metal kind of mask, and I honestly think that he should have taken the mask off, and there would have been another mask underneath. Because I think, but two masked characters, and the fact that as soon as he removes his mask, everyone can see that it's Adam Bomb.
Yeah, it's Adam Bomb.
So I think they should have kept him under a mask. Would have been a lot more. It would have been good with the whole Mortal Kombat gimmick as well.
It's a shame they didn't try and do Goro, isn't it?
Yeah, it would have had someone come out with like different sets of arms with like
I'm
string
sure someone
attached to them. Yeah, so you
I'm
could.
sure someone in the WCW office might have suggested it one day.
I'm sure they bloody did as well.
Yeah. We get a recap of the car wreck, um, where the outsiders run the Steiners off the road.
Yeah, but
Must
we
be
don't.
that bad luck they were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, because on the Nitros, they say about them having a car accident, but no one actually mentions that the NWO were involved
No.
on the Nitros. This is the first we hear about it, and they've got the video camera, and yeah, they start, they driving behind him, nudging the Steiners, and then and to be honest, dude, the car crash looked legit as fuck, man. Like
Looks good.
it was good, man. Like you couldn't see. I actually genuinely was watching it and thinking, shit, man, that was done really well. Yeah, it was good stuff.
We have a strap match next. It's Buff Bagwell. It's Buff, and he's the stuff.
But one
Uh,
of my favourite matches on this card, dude. I know you might disagree,
okay,
or it might be a
um,
surprise to you, but I
he's going
fucking
up
love
against his
this.
former tag partner Scotty Riggs, and Riggs comes out to that fucking American male song.
Yep.
Fuck's sake!
Yeah.
What? Oh, this is awful. It's. I mean, look it up for anyone that wants to, have their ears attacked for a minute. It's the worst wrestling song since that X Factor one, that X Pac and them came out to in 2001. Well, the worst one I've heard, since then. But yeah, American Males is grim.
It's grim.
It's a horrible
And
song.
and to be honest, he does his ring attire as well. Scotty Riggs. They could have done a bit better with his ring attire as well. He's looking a bit dated, man. I don't know whether that's just Buff Bagwell's was looking
Male
swell.
stripper gimmick. It's trash. Riggs wouldn't get a better gimmick until he turns out with the Flock later down the line. But yeah, this is a strap match, and I can't imagine it's any fun getting hit with this strap at
No.
any point. It looks, you can see the welts on these guys towards the end, and it sounds brutal. It looks brutal, and I think it's a bit of a throwaway for these two. Giving them a match like a strap match, I think it's a bit pointless.
Yeah, I mean, again, every match on the card has some kind of gimmick, kind of to it. It's I really enjoyed the match. I thought that the way that Buff Bagwell played to the cameras, he was an absolute pro. Absolute pro. He knew where the camera was at all times. He played to it at the correct times. He looked calm and composed, selling that gimmick, and sometimes he would just do moves and then look at the camera. It's like, how beautiful was that?
Yeah.
Like he's just absolutely phenomenal. Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Where did it all go wrong?
This is absolute. He's absolute fucking money in this, man. He is. He looks the business. He wrestles well. The way he's got the talk. He's playing up to the cameras. It's absolutely phenomenal. He's like, I love myself like no one else I know. It is just he plays to the camera brilliantly. It's there's also a very interesting piece of shoot interview history with Buff Bagwell where he talks about him possibly going to WWF. That is something that you guys all should check out on YouTube as well. It says the story of how he nearly went there, but then they ended up buying the company and they ended up sacking him after 2 weeks.
Yeah, main evented as well.
Yeah.
He main evented Raw, and then they got rid of him. Dream says he can't just sit there thinking about that Playboy magazine. And he also references a sack of cement a lot in this.
Sack of semen, yeah.
Sack of cement.
But it sounded like a sack of semen when he kept saying it. It's like dragging him there and the sack of semen. It's like, no, what? I think it was just my brain when because they were talking about the magazine and then talking about a sack of semen. It was just
And I don't think Tony can handle it anymore because he just starts going at it with Dusty.
yeah,
And it's, I just think it's crazy. Like, it's just like the booth is going, it's just, they're arguing with each other over it.
it's
Um,
crazy.
there was a funny moment in this for me when Buff stands Scotty up and makes him do that stupid American Wales clap.
Yeah,
Like, I was cracking up with that one. Like, it
brilliant.
made me actually stop and laugh. Like, um, the ref gets involved. He shoves Buff to the ground. The crowd seem to love that one.
Getting in his face and that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then again, Buff plays to the cameras because the camera's right on top of him. And the ref says, "Oh," and he's like, "Sorry, sorry, sorry." And then he looks directly at the camera as soon as the ref
yeah.
turns away and he goes, "I'm not really." It's just absolute gold from Buff Bagwell in this match. He is,
It's a hell of a gimmick. Yeah.
oh, it's fantastic, dude. Love it.
Um, Riggs hits his back on the apron hard,
Yeah.
which eventually plays into the end of the match. But Jesus, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah, it looked painful, man. That was coming up to the end of the match. And
Gets
just
a
before
yeah,
Bagwell, like, choking him while he's hanging off the side of the ring.
yeah. I don't think you can do that these days either.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bagwell, yeah, he backdrops him. He hits his back really hard on the apron, and yes, I don't think there's any comfortable way to deal with that. And Bagwell gets the win, hitting all four corners with a laid out Riggs on the floor. It's
It,
I mean, it was quick enough. It was all right. It wasn't. But I mean, Bagwell's obviously the star of this match. They're getting him over, and he's doing everything he can to get himself over.
he does steal this match. It's brilliant. There is one point on commentary where the Brain says to Tony Schiavone, when they're talking about, oh, he has to hit all four corners, and then Brain says to him, "Yeah, if there were 20 corners, you'd have to take your shoes off." It's the Brain, just,
Oh yeah,
that classic, if you have to count above 10, you have to count your toes kind of thing. It's just, I mean, like, we love the Brain. It is, it's a given. So those little moments are fantastic.
um, the NWO backstage. We get one of their vignettes. They guarantee victory. Talking about their man Dennis Rodman being there. Um, Randy Savage also has the magazine,
He does.
um, and they're ripping into Kimberly and Paige and stuff. And at the end of it, at the end of the segment, you just hear the question, "Why are the pages stuck together?"
Yeah. And he says, "Sorry about that."
Oh,
Macho says that there's something about a training bra. They say about a training bra,
yeah,
and they say, yeah, she doesn't need a training bra or whatever. But there's also, they're talking about initiations, and they're talking about, what we put Rodman through. Is he going to turn up in a wedding dress? And then they're insinuating some really weird stuff, and it's like, yeah,
yeah,
he taught me some other stuff, that we can do, and it's like really weird, like, oh, like, what did you do to
yeah.
initiate him? Like, creepy shit, like some, you know,
And these are old guys.
yeah, dude, like, it's really creepy. It's like, oh, what the fuck were you guys doing, man?
But yeah, it's the pages are stuck together, and I think that's as far as we need to go on
Yeah,
that. Next up, we got Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry against the Public Enemy in a Texas Tornado match,
yep.
and the Public Enemy have bought some plunder.
They bought some plunder. They got their plunder.
Um, Public Enemy are over here
Yep,
with the crowd.
yep.
This same crowd that went silent for a cruiserweight match are really into what Public Enemy are doing, and that just really does baffle me.
I mean, this match was as close to chaos as you can get,
Yeah,
to be honest.
there was so much chaos. We had that fucking double screen again,
Yep.
which I think I spoke about in Beach Blast. I
Yes.
couldn't stand it then. I can't stand it now. It's too difficult to follow what's going on.
Just for our video viewers as well, another piece of merchandise. We've got Booker T, Toy Biz figure, sucker. He's wearing actually what they were wearing in this match, the flameage. So yeah, just for our video viewers there. Sorry, podcast guys.
Had a good line of stuff, WCW stuff. I really like some of their work.
It's good stuff, man. I mean, we're a sucker for any figure really. We're marks.
Dusty at the top of his voice. He's got a commode lid.
He's got a commode lid, a toilet seat. He's got a toilet seat.
And yeah, it's that kind of it's that kind of match. There's rubbish bins, there's trash can lids, all the cookie sheets and all of that. It's all just one after the other. Grunge gets a cut as well. Don't know how it happened. I'm pretty sure he didn't blade.
No, it was hard way, baby. It was hard way. Sherry actually injures herself very early on in this match as well.
A cut on her cheek.
No, it wasn't on her cheek. It was she fucked her thumb up. So
oh, really?
Right at the beginning, yeah, she smacks one of them with a frying pan, and I think as she's hit him with the frying pan, it's come back and it's either pulled her nail off and made it start bleeding, because you notice as she's walking back up that she's got a bleeding thumb. And I think she's just wiped.
She just touched her cheek.
She's touched her face, yeah. And she's and that's the blood, because it's like because I thought she'd cut her face, but then when you closely watch it, I noticed literally within 1 minute of the match starting, she cracked him with the frying pan, and she's hurt her thumb because she was like that. She was like but she was the third man in this match, baby.
Oh, she was amazing. Dusty and Brain can't contain themselves any longer in this match. They are absolutely cracking up, like laughing. You can hear clapping and stuff like with them. They just can't help themselves with all the plunder, all the cookie sheets and the frying pans and stuff. They ask who's refereeing. Is it Martha Stewart? No, it's Betty White.
It's Betty White. It's great stuff. The Dream loses his shit. He absolutely. Yeah. At one point, he's just like laughing to the point where he's like, he literally cannot contain himself. It is absolute gold.
Sherry is crazed. She's choking Rocco Rock. She's, laying in punches. It's
low blows.
Yeah, she was on point. It's chaos to follow this one. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But it's better than what Glacier and Mortis were trying to do, because that was hard to follow just because it wasn't that good. Whereas this is fun. The fans are chanting that they want the table. Public Enemy do put Stevie Ray through the table with some sort of double spot. They both try and go through it as well.
Yeah.
And then, just as you think anything your night can't get any better, Jeff Jarrett and Mongo come out. And Mongo doesn't blow a spot. He hits Rocco Rock with a briefcase.
Yep.
And you get a Harlem Hangover from Booker T, which was always a favourite move of mine. I really enjoyed that, and you get the win.
It's funny, this Harlem Hangover though, if you watch it carefully, Booker T lands on his head on Johnny Grunge, I think it is, lands on Johnny Grunge's head because Johnny Grunge moves, and Booker is having stern words with him while he's covering him. So just watch that as well. That's one for Matthew at Botchamania.
That wasn't a bad match. It was good fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was another Public Enemy match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It was another Public Enemy match where it was.
It wasn't the Nasty Boys, so.
It weren't the Nasty Boys, so we're all right with that. That's fine.
Mean Gene with Team WCW minus Rick Steiner. I've got here Luger. Jesus, he's been hitting the Ico Pro. He is wrapped.
It's true. I've got Luger ripped. Yeah.
He is. Wow. Scott Steiner wants to beat the NWO to a pulp. Now I don't know whether this is because I couldn't hear it that well, or my volume was down, but it seemed like the Giant was whispering.
He was very quiet and then started shouting at the
He
end.
started shouting, yeah, and I was like, they should have just not bothered letting him talk. I think the way they booked the Giant from start to finish in the whole of his run in WCW was quite poor anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're letting him whisper into a microphone and stuff. I was like, okay. And Lex Luger defends tradition and the NWA and all that stuff.
He says, this is not about wrestling. This is about society. And the NWO with their anti-establishment trash. So he's standing up for the establishment, for what is right, for the NWA and all that, like you say, yeah. And he's teaching the kids that being anti-establishment and going up against authority isn't good. And I mean, I'm an anti-establishment kind of guy anyway. So I was thinking at this point, actually, fuck you, Luger, man. Like, you know what I mean? Let's not go down this road. But yeah, no, he was setting up the angle. These guys against the establishment of WCW, and yeah, I mean it was all right. It wasn't a great promo, I didn't think personally.
No, it wasn't. It's a TV title match. Rey Mysterio Jr. against Prince Iaukea, and I have my thoughts on the Prince. I'll try and be positive.
Are you not a fan?
No.
Of Prince? Are you a fan of Prince Iaukea, or the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea, or the artist?
Neither. None.
None.
Yeah.
Because he would later become the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea, and the artist. I mean,
whose idea was that?
He can work though. I mean,
work is a strong word in this one.
All right. No, I mean he's got moves.
Yeah.
And he can string them together and have a good match.
Yeah, at this point, WCW's commentators are wondering why no one stepped up for Rick Steiner, and I think we're all wondering that too. DDP has obviously been taken out of it, but
they mentioned, they mentioned that DDP might step in, hey?
Yeah, but then he got jumped by Savage. Now, at this point, as well, from Wrestling Booking 101, you're half expecting Rick Steiner to come out and either be in the team, or just to turn and join the NWO. Like, you can never rule anything out with WCW booking, which, it's just something you expect now, isn't it? Swerve turns everywhere.
Yeah.
But back to the TV title match. Tenay's back in the booth. I've got here, I've never rated Prince Iaukea. There's a flip sent on from Rey Mysterio. Prince does a springboard to the outside, which is all right. It's clumsy though. This whole match seems a little like they're not working well together.
I will mention Rey Mysterio's gear in this match as well, the Spider-Man gear.
Yeah,
it was absolutely fantastic. Like the kick pads with the spider and the web on it. His mask was like Spider-Man-y. Good stuff.
Quick question. Do you prefer Rey Mysterio and Spider-Man or Ric Flair in Peach?
I mean, anything with Flair is obviously gold. You know what I mean?
Because I know how much in one of our earlier episodes you were talking about Ric Flair in Peach and how well he looked.
He looked. I mean, Ric Flair always looked $1,000,000. And to be honest, dude, it does piss me off a little bit that Flair and Anderson are not at this pay-per-view.
Well, I've not really got to the bottom of it either.
Well, yeah, I mean, after this match, there's actually an advert for Spring Stampede.
Yeah.
Which
the Horsemen in it.
The Horsemen are in it, and they're all actually on horses playing the cowboy thing. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit. I mean, it's a weird one. Why there's no Ric Flair or Arn Anderson at this event, but they are missing in action, and all we've got is Jarrett and Mungo and Deborah, and Mr. Benoit.
Yeah. Was it? It's a decent decent sunset flip powerbomb from Ray.
Yeah, spring powerbomb. Yeah,
Yeah,
springboard
quite
moonsault by Ray as well. Yeah.
the crowd aren't into it again. They've fallen off. I think they're just maybe they don't like Prince IK either.
Don't know. There's a ridiculous spot coming up as well where they both go for a drop kick and they end up fucking scissoring each other in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, I've got weird double drop kick on here.
But they literally are like scissoring, like anyway, maybe that was in the magazine.
Oh no!
Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's so strange seeing them scissor each other in the balls and hit the deck. Like it is really weird spot. I don't think I've seen that before.
The time limit expires in this match. TV title match is usually like 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio gets on the microphone, demands like more minutes.
Yep.
Prince IK agrees to it. Bobby says that's a stupid move, but he agrees to it, and Prince would end up reversing what we now know as the West Coast pop. He would reverse it into a 3 count, and you could have done that in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be extra.
I don't see what the point was apart from trying to play up that IK is like a sportsmanship. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the face and who's the heel in this one? I
No
think
one.
that's why no one gives a fuck about this match.
Yeah.
Because there's no clear what's going on.
I have my theories on why Prince IK was TV champ. It's because he couldn't wrestle longer than 10-15 minutes. He looked blown up. He looked absolutely knackered.
Your Prince IK, your Dean Malenko is Prince IK then, yeah.
He could be, but yeah, he just looked absolutely shattered. Like 10 minutes in, and he looked troubled like for the rest of the match, which is probably 15-minute matches is probably his limit. But no, I digress. I respect the Prince for what he did. He put himself about. So
put himself. I mean, and like you say, he went on to be the artist formerly known as Prince IK and the artist, which had a few good comedy moments in the later years. But
yeah, we have the promo vid for Spring Stampede.
First ever one, new event.
Yeah. And Michael Buffer is here again. You can tell it's a big time main event because Michael Buffer's here. And I feel for Michael Buffer because he's got to explain the fucking rules of this match.
Yeah.
And the stipulation.
There's a lot to go over in this one, and it's a weird one because you've got, I mean, I personally don't understand why Piper and his team are involved in this one. I don't quite.
Piper wants a cage match with Hogan. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just.
I mean, Piper wants his cage match with Hogan. He had beaten Hogan with the sleeper at Starrcade, but inexplicably it wasn't for the world title. Don't get me started on that. He wanted another shot at Hogan. WCW wanted rid of the NWO, so it was 3 years they would be banned for if Team WCW won the match, and NWO could challenge for any title they wanted if they won. And I think Michael Buffer looked bored.
Yeah, I mean, so they would get if the NWO lost. If Team WCW won, NWO would give back all the belts and not wrestle in WCW for 3 years.
Where they're going to wrestle?
I mean, you knew straight away that there was no way that the Team WCW were going to win. Just from when they're mentioning that, you just think, well, that's not going to happen, is it?
They're going to go ECW, are they?
Yeah, it's one of them ones. So Team NWO wins. They can challenge for any title, anytime, any place. And yes, if Piper's team wins, Piper gets a match with Hogan in the cage.
which he eventually gets.
Yep.
You know, later on, I think maybe Halloween Havoc, 97, something like that.
Yeah, he does get one.
Around that time. Yeah, he gets it because it's like maybe just before or just after Hell in a Cell, the first one,
Okay,
which
yeah.
we speak about only a week ago.
That was our last episode was about
Yeah.
WWF In Your House 18 Bad Blood, which was the first Hell in a Cell match. Absolutely.
We know how to tie stuff into our old episodes here. We're getting good at it. The crowd are ready for this. They're ready for this main event.
There's a lot of four fingers going up. And this is why it's very sad that in South Carolina you don't have Arn Anderson and Ric Flair somehow getting involved in this match. But then you think if they are involved in this match,
They take too much away from it.
they're going to win it. You know what I mean? They're going to find a way somehow to overcome. Yeah.
It's possible that Flair and Anderson, Flair in particular, is probably too over to be in this match. You know, it's the whole legend, perspective. Like, when Flair took on Conan at Bash at the Beach, people were going to be behind Flair. They were never going to get behind Conan for it. Flair's a legend, and people get behind legends. They always want to see legends win one more title, one more match. It's just the way of the world. And maybe giving the Flair the night off was to just stop the fans from being all over Flair.
It's true. South Carolina is horseman country, and Flair would have just been over. Yeah.
It looks like, well, this is what made me laugh because I've got here, it looks like the workhorses are going to open the match. So you've got Benoit out first, followed by Scott Hall, and then the Giant.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting Scott Steiner to be out first. Because, then you've got three proper, like, crazy workhorses doing the first 5 minutes. But they put the Giant in there. And again, it comes down to WCW's booking of the Giant. He could have cleared house later on.
Yeah.
But instead, he's dominant early, even choke slamming Benoit.
Oh, he gets him so high up, and it looks like such a savage move.
Scott Hall breaks up the pin in this elimination match. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So the rules to this are: so you've got three teams of 4 men, okay, and they're going to have one man from each team go in first and wrestle for 5 minutes. Then they're going to enter another one from each team, and every 2 minutes after that, they're going to do it. And when everyone else is in, then it's unlimited time, and people can be eliminated by pinfall, over the top rope, or submission,
or knockout.
or knockout.
Which I'm not sure how that's going to work, but Giant eliminates himself.
Basically, yes. Goes running into the corner, does like a Ric Flair bump, but forwards, basically, and 400 odd pounds of man goes flying out to the outside.
I was just so like, again, like the way they booked this Giant, like, I've not got a lot of positive things on this one, and how positive we try and be about everything. Him eliminating himself is just, why not get 6 or 7 guys to throw him out?
And also, this team is already 1 man down.
Yeah.
It's already Rick Steiner's not involved.
Out next, we have Jeff Jarrett, Macho Man, and Lex Luger. Luger's showing his power, lots of press slams, and on Savage, and maybe Jarrett gets one. It's a short time period though. They're getting smaller and smaller, so more people are coming out. And here comes Mongo. I was hoping we'd see more of him, but we didn't.
No.
Mongo, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner make their way out.
Yeah.
Scott Steiner comes out and just starts laying waste to the NWO. All his power moves, all his
You know, he literally the way he picks up Diesel and gives him like a belly to belly.
Yeah,
Diesel, Nash, you know, he gives him a belly to belly. He gets hold of Hall, slams him.
it's all
Um,
really impressive.
yeah, he starts clearing house. He really does.
Uh, and then I mean, for me, it just feels really quick that people just start to get eliminated. People start to get chucked out, and Jarrett goes first. Nash eliminates him.
Yeah,
Hall eliminates Mongo. Mongo doesn't really get any offense in at all.
no.
It's a shame for me because Mongo. I was half expecting some of those chop blocks from Mongo. They're probably his best move,
Yeah,
but yeah, we didn't see any of them. Um, Roddy Piper makes his way out. Big cheers for Roddy. Um, and in the midst of that, Scott Steiner gets eliminated.
yeah. I thought it was a weird time to do it because in the whole furore of Piper entering the ring, and Hogan's
Yeah,
supposed to be coming out at this point as well. So they're like,
yeah.
"Where's Hogan? Where's Hogan?" Yeah, Steiner just goes, and you don't really even see it. You don't even acknowledge it. It's like a flippant. Oh, Steiner's gone.
It's a weird production mistakes. Again, WCW they make a few. We've noted a few already, like in other shows. So they get one every time, don't they?
Yeah,
Hogan does come out eventually with Dennis Rodman. He takes an age to get to the ring. He's, he's posing for photos. That's all it is. He's just, your magazine front page ops and all that. He's,
there's
you
loads of
know,
security. There's loads of police there and security
yeah,
for Rodman. I noticed as they were
Rodman's
walking to the ring.
muting for the fans in the crowd.
Yeah,
He's having fun. Well, we hope he's having fun. Um, Lots of chance now for We Want Sting.
yeah.
I think they were hoping he'd be the fourth man in Team WCW, but it doesn't work out that way. Rodman pulls down the top rope for Piper to get eliminated. He finally makes use of himself, but that doesn't stop Piper from running around the ring like a maniac, attacking anyone that breathes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Piper knew the rules.
No, I don't. I don't think. But I mean, like I say, it was just a bit crazy. It was very manic and very chaotic. This match. In the midst of it, Benoit has been in it from the beginning, and he's getting the absolute dog shit beaten out of him in the
Yeah, the
ring.
outsiders are pummeling him.
He takes, and it looks like he reluctantly takes a razor's edge as
Yeah,
well. Like they get him up.
Nash helps him. Yeah,
Yeah, Nash helps to get him up and that, and it's like, at this point he was absolutely battered, and then they just throw him over the top rope.
and with Benoit being thrown out, it makes it 4 against 1. The NWO team, Savage, the Outsiders, and Hogan against Luger. And within seconds, Luger has got this crowd on its feet.
Yeah,
They are going nuts. He racks Macho. Macho gives up. He eliminates Nash over the top rope with a clothesline. This place is like you can see the camera starting to shake a little bit because the place
yeah,
is rock. He racks Hall. Hall gives up straight away. And now you're down to Luger and Hogan, and you're thinking, Christ, WCW got a shot. And because there's no organization out there, it doesn't seem like there's any refs getting rid of anyone. Savage just pops back in and whacks Luger with a can of spray paint.
yeah. I think they say he gets sprayed in the eyes.
I don't. You don't see any evidence of that on Luger's face.
No, they just say, "Oh, Rodman sprayed him in the eyes."
Yeah, and Hogan pins him. Hogan's the last man standing for a change, and Team NWO win. That means they can challenge for any WCW title they want at any time, almost like the 24/7 title in the WWE, I guess.
Yeah,
But I don't think we see any of that. Rodman gets in the ring and sprays NWO on Luger's back, and then starts. He tries to start paintbrushing him with some
yeah.
slaps, and it doesn't look like any of them hit.
No.
Not
And
one.
then Hogan has to step in and start doing it to give him some real slaps.
They leave the ring. The NWO leave the ring. You know, a little bit of pyro goes. You expect the show to go off the air, and from the top, there he is. You can see
our,
him on my screen.
our,
Sting.
our video fans, anyone watching on YouTube can see now, obviously, that Jordan has got a plush of Sting.
It's a Toy Biz classic here. Body Bashers of Sting.
Yeah, dude.
And yeah, he drops down from the rafters in the ring on his own.
And also quickly bearing in mind, guys, this is not this Sting that you're seeing here. I'm holding up a World Championship Wrestling sticker book from 1991. This Sting is gone now.
He
This
is gone.
Sting is never to be seen again.
But we will miss you, Sting.
We will miss it. And obviously Jordan's holding up their WCW annual from around the same time.
Yeah, it's I think it's 91 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah, Sting from the top. The fans are going absolutely nuts. The commentators, you know, Heenan saying who you're playing for, and Hall gets in the ring, charges at him, whacks him. Like Sting hits him with the bat, and it's a sustained pop.
Place goes wild.
It's the biggest pop of the night for sure. Like bigger than Malenko winning the US title. And yeah, and I mean, I've got here on my notes, it's one of the best endings to a pay-per-view I've ever seen.
It was crazy because you've got, you know, Sting, the way he descends right into the middle of the ring, right, and then releases the thing really quick. I mean, I hate to talk about Owen Hart, you know, but how is it that they could do that at Uncensored with Sting? Obviously, he had the strapping underneath the jacket or whatever. I don't know, but that was a pretty quick release. You know, that was a pretty quick release. But you know, and then that happened to Owen. And I heard recently a more descriptive way on. I was listening to a shoot interview, someone talking about it, and basically Owen Hart's feather boa got caught in the quick release thing, and as he's tried to pull his boa out of it, that's what's released it.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucking grim, man. You know, so yeah, I mean, it was a really, the way Sting came into the ring, because what it was, you've got the guys out and you think it's the end of the pay-per-view, you've got an empty ring, you've got the NWO on the outside of the ring, and they go to like a long shot of the ring, and then literally a shot goes up and you just see Sting. Everyone's looking up, and then Sting just comes into the middle of the ring. He releases the back harness really quickly. That disappears. Then he's standing there, and like you say, they all come in, and he just fucking lays waste with his bat. He's whacking people here and there, and then I've got on my notes, it's Scorpion Death Drops all round. You know what I mean? It's literally
exactly what I've got on my notes. Scorpion Death Drops all round.
That's it. And that he literally just, you know, he whacks them all with the bat one time. Scorpion Death Drops all round, and then he's standing there. Hogan and Rodman are outside, and he's there pointing his bat, and he's like, "You, I want you." And it is one of the best endings because, I mean, Hogan gets in the ring after he puts his bat down.
With a bit of encouragement from Rodman, he gets in the ring.
Yep.
And Hogan gets 3 punches and a Scorpion Death Drop. This place is still like losing their minds about this.
That's right. And you've got go on.
We've got Tony Schiavone. We gotta go. We gotta
go. He's like properly screaming. We gotta go. You know, and it's like literally the last moment of the pay-per-view is Hogan just getting Scorpion Death dropped, and great stuff. Great ending.
Roll the credits. That's it. I mean, that is, like I said, one of the best endings to a pay-per-view I've seen. Like, just, I mean, for a crazy pay-per-view itself, it had a fitting crazy ending.
It was beautiful chaos encapsulated with bits of this and that, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby the Brain Heenan, the commentary team just losing their shit and laughing, having fun, but then the seriousness of what was going on was maybe taken away from a little bit by the way that they were on commentary. But then, like you say, it finished so strongly and so seriously with this new Sting, who had been like a mannequin for the last however long. He was walking with the NWO, but he never wore the t-shirt. He never said anything. And and like we're saying, that Sting there, as you can see, that Sting with the face paint like that was gone. The bright colours, yeah, and he was now this kind of crow-like character, the Scorpion.
What a bargain this was! I think I only paid like £6 for it.
Bargain.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, and that's your pay-per-view. It was a really solid, decent effort from WCW, who were banging out decent shows left, right, and centre at this point. And it's just another excuse for us to watch more WCW stuff.
It is. It's it had drama. It had some really good, like I say, the car crash for me in this was just a great bit of footage done really well, and it legit made me think, shit, man, were they actually in that car? I mean, chances are they weren't, because they actually went off the side of the road and flipped or whatever, But it was, damn, that was good, man. Some solid matches. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Ultimate Dragon, Psychosis. Some good stuff going on.
If you can see on the, on the VHS cover, it says Ultimate Dragon, which I think is funny. It's obviously not Ultimate, it's Ultimo. But
I'm pretty sure they called him Ultimate Dragon.
Oh, on the show?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that. I hope they didn't. But
I'm pretty sure they at some points and even on other events, I swear they've called him Ultimate Dragon before.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. And they say obviously he was trained by the Bruce Lee wrestler from Japan, but was big in Mexico.
By Stretch Limo Rickshaw, right?
Stretch Limo Rickshaw and Dusty losing his shit. It's great. It's great stuff. It's your classic 1990s, late 1990s NWO. When they first started coming in, because the whole NWO angle, it got crazy. There was factions. There was more stuff going on. This was really early NWO inception. I mean, I've also got some other merchandise. I've got some 1998 WCW NWO cards, and that was at the time when Goldberg had emerged into it, and that kind of angle was happening. So, this was really early. I mean, they still quite amassed quite a few people very quickly. From the moment, we had Bash at the Beach and we just had the original, the Outsiders and Hogan. From that point on, you had DiBiase come in. I mean, they should have done a hell of a lot more with DiBiase. And so you had DiBiase, you had Vincent, you had Buff Bagwell, the NWO at this point, you had Savage, you had Sting. Also, by this point, the Giant had been in the NWO, but then he'd left as well by this point.
Again,
and it weren't even that long.
Again, it's down to that thing where we talk about the booking of the Giant, and that could be a whole episode in itself. Because the way they handled him, I mean, I'm sure people in Titan Towers were laughing their asses off, despite losing the battle at the time. Were probably laughing their heads off at how he was being used.
Yeah, I mean, well, when WWF got their hands on him as well, it was, I believe, his debut might have been Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House.
Cage.
We've just had the NXT in your house revival. Again, these things are good, but they piss me off because they're playing on that demographic of you and I who were grown up, and our age group who grew up watching in your houses, and they're playing on that nostalgia to get people to watch NXT. And they even brought Toddy P back, the great legend Todd Pettingill. They brought him back for do some promos. But to be honest, I haven't watched the NXT in your house, and I've already said it was last night. And I've already said if Todd Pettingill isn't involved in a bigger role in that, I will make a formal complaint to WWE because you can't have an in your house without Todd Pettingill.
He is on at the beginning. I've seen like an hour or so of it so far.
Is he involved?
He's like I said, he's involved at the beginning.
The free for all.
You also get a shot. Like it's only a picture on a wall, but they do note it. It's our man Doc Hendricks.
Yes.
So they are playing on the nostalgia feel for people like us.
100%, man. But for me, when someone says WWF in your house or WWE in your house, all I can hear it is in Todd Pettingill's voice saying WWF in your house, and the live free for all and all that. And I would have just loved. I mean, I don't know if they've done it yet. I will watch the pre-show and I will watch it. But it's just another one of them things where WWF, I think, are trying to get money out of people to play on that nostalgia, like the new figures, the Mattel retros.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
I don't have any of them either. I looked at a couple of them to get them. I looked at the one of The Rock to get them. I looked at the Goldberg one, but I have made a rule that I don't like to buy. I very rarely, if ever, buy a WWF WWE made figure of the big WCW stars. I don't like doing it. I won't buy a Mattel Sting. Like I won't do it. It's just me being a jerk. Basically, it's just me being a fucking stubborn bastard. But for me, if you want a figure of Sting, I mean, I've got ones here behind me. I've got the Toy Biz Bruisers one where he's on. He descends on the thing and he's got his black baseball bat. I've got that. I've got other Sting figures from that era. I don't like to buy the new WWE figures of the old WCW stars. Yeah, dude. So the Giant.
There's the Giant in his Toy Biz phase. I mean, look at that. He's ripped here, isn't he? Absolutely Beautiful. Ripped. But yeah.
But yeah, we haven't watched In Your House, but the Giant would go to WWF slightly later, and he would show in St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which was an In Your House. It was one of the last, if not the last, In Your House.
Yeah, true.
Because they had, the In Your House, the numbers, they all had a name, but then, they come to the end. They had the NWO In Your House. No Way Out.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually had the NWO.
Yeah, that was the NWO revival, but I'm sure we'll cover that another time.
We'll definitely do that pay-per-view, No Way Out. We'll definitely do that. So yeah, I mean, this was the end of the pay-per-view. Great strong ending. We're going on a bit of a tangent, but we love to do it. But strong ending. We're not too sure what pay-per-view we're gonna do next. We did have a little chat about a specific, quite a niche British wrestling one that we were talking about doing.
We did have a conversation about a British one. But obviously, if anyone's got any pay-per-views they want us to see, they want us to see an ECW pay-per-view, we'll gladly dip into the ECW market.
Yeah.
If there's any WWF, or again, you don't have to sell it to me to watch another WCW show. You really don't. I will sit there and watch them over and over again.
That's right.
Because, we grew up on World Championship Wrestling. My poor dad had to, video record these shows late at night on ITV here in the UK, but 2 o'clock in the morning for me to watch. And I just, I'm on the lookout for a new for a Galoob ring. If anyone knows, or if anyone's got any ideas where I can get one, which is, I know it's difficult because they're quite rare.
Well, the thing is as well, the prices of everything has gone through the roof during this lockdown, because you've got guys that weren't usually collectors that are saying, oh, I've got all this furlough money or whatever, or I'm working from home and I've got money sitting around, and there's a few people with quite a bit of dough that are throwing it about and buying figures, and the prices have gone absolutely through the roof. So for any collector, it's definitely a seller's market right now. So if anyone's looking at selling any figures, I would get on it and sell them now, because it's definitely a seller's market. Price is absolutely through the roof. So and talking about the pay-per-views very quickly, we'll try not to do 2 or 3 of them on the trot. So this one is a WCW one. The next one will definitely not be a WCW one. We will alternate it. So we're doing different promotions after each other just to break it up.
Yeah, different years of different times. And for those of you who've got to the end of this, we want to thank you for still watching, still listening.
Yeah.
However you're listening to us now, because the options are bountiful.
Correct.
You can click on absolutely everything, and I definitely want to thank everyone for subscribing to us on YouTube. That was a hell of a day.
Yeah, we just had loads of new subscribers. We went from something like 30 to 134 within less than 24 hours. We just it's brilliant. We
are incredibly grateful for anyone that watches, and feel free to ask us questions, get us. We'll shout out any of the good questions, any of the the good comments.
100%, man.
If anyone wants a bit of merch,
and if you don't want a bit of merch, then you are soft as. But anyway, thanks again for watching. It's been
like and subscribe time.
Like and subscribe. So we are on, if you want to watch this video version of our podcast, we are on YouTube as Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. You can just find us on there. Please subscribe to our channel on there. You can also get us. We're on Podbean, we're on Spotify, we're on Deezer, we're on Castbox, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on Listen Notes, and we are on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter. Jordan's banging on the Twitter at Chat Grapple Pops. We're on Instagram as well now, so we'll probably be putting a load of our different merchandise that we've been showing in this video. We'll be putting up pictures of our favourite bits of memorabilia. So yeah, that is a massive long list of where you can catch us. So whether you're watching a video, whether you're listening to the podcast, thank you 100 times. Thank you. We appreciate it. And we're going to just keep banging out these episodes. So today it was WCW Uncensored 1997. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Chris Dredd, my main man JB. And we will catch you in the next episode. So, yeah, thanks for joining us again, guys. And we will see you very soon.
Take care. Stay safe.